Canada's ambassador to Egypt, Dumas, is with me now from Cairo. Hi, Ambassador. Good to have you here. Thank you very much for making the time.
Thank you for welcoming me.
I wanted to start off on that humanitarian aid and the delivery, those 20 trucks that got in, the ask for a more sustained opening. Do you think one is possible?
Well, we hope, that they can resume the delivery of aid as soon as possible. I mean, we've been working very closely with the Egyptian authorities here in Egypt, in Cairo, to allow aid to go into through Rafah into Gaza. Of course, there's has to have agreement from the other side of the border, and we're working very actively with our embassy in Tel Aviv and also our office in Ramallah to resolve this issue. But I hope that we could resume as soon as possible.
The concerns, as expressed by Israel, are of course that the aid get into the wrong hands, basically. From your perspective and in your conversations with the Egyptian side, what are their concerns about more permanently opening a sustained crossing?
I think what we want to make sure, and I think the message has been passed on over the past few days, we want to make sure that the aid goes to the right people in Gaza. I think you described it well. I mean, we've talked to the UN, and it's very much a life and death situation. Many people are suffering in Gaza at the moment, and we want to make sure that the aid gets in the right hands. So I think, let's say, the first convoy of 20 trucks that went in was very much, I would say, a trial, to make sure that everything goes smoothly. So it has been very encouraging, and I hope, as I said, that the convoys will resume as soon as possible.
Is it your feeling, your sense, after discussing this with people in Egypt and with your counterparts in Egypt, that if these 20 trucks do go in and there aren't any kind of negative consequences to that from a security perspective, that the chances of more trucks going in the future are higher?
Yeah, it's very much our hope, and we've conveyed this to the Egyptian officials, and we've had great collaboration with the Egyptian government. And it's not an easy situation for anyone, but I know that Egypt has the situation very much at heart and is hoping for a quick resolution of the entry of the convoys into Gaza.
You mentioned that you're conveying that to them. What do they convey in response?
I'm sorry, would you repeat, please?
You said, sorry, in the last answer that you're conveying and Canadian officials are conveying to them, that to the Egyptian officials, that's what they hope, right? That if this is successful, that there are more deliveries and more aid can get through the Rafah border. I'm just wondering what they convey in response to you. Are you encouraged at all by their response? Because they have been hesitant to more freely open the border in the past number of days.
No, absolutely. I mean, we've conveyed this, our desire with ministers yesterday at the Cairo Peace Summit. And I think our position has been made very, very clear. I'm meeting regularly with, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs here in Egypt, both as well, with the Ministry of International Cooperation to make sure that, aid goes to the people who really, really need them. And as you pointed out, time is pressing. We got to make sure that we do deliver the goods as soon as possible, and making sure as well that the aid gets to the people, gets in the right hands.
Ambassador, you mentioned that peace summit that took place. Our foreign affairs minister, of course, was there as well. At the conclusion of that summit, usually when summits or get-togethers like this and there is some sort of statement agreed to and released to the public, at the conclusion of this one, such a statement did not come forth. What do you take away from that?
I think, there's a number of countries and organizations that have participated. As you pointed out, our Minister of Global Affairs, the Honorable Mélanie Joly, as well as our Minister of International Development, the Honorable Ahmed Hussein, were present here in Cairo. I thank them for taking the time, from their busy schedule to address this issue. And it shows the importance we pay on the conflict in the region. So, while there were no declaration, there was a statement from the chair, and the statement from the chair made it very clearly. It's time for conversations. It's time for serious discussions about the matter. And I think, the Minister Joly and Minister Hussein conveyed very clearly and without any doubt that Canada wants to be part of the solution. And Canada has very much at heart, the peace and the resolution of the conflict. I think Minister Joly mentioned that the victims of all this are civilians on both sides. We got to make sure that things, progress nicely, and we have to contain this conflict. And I think, I give it to the Egyptians for taking the time, making the effort to bringing the community together and really having a serious conversation about it.
Does, though, the absence of a concluding statement kind of exemplify how difficult that path to a resolution is? If Israel and the U.S. are absent from the meeting in the first place, obviously with very, very specific points of view themselves, but even those in the region, people who thought it necessary to come and attend, couldn't come to a formal agreement about what that path to peace looks like.
As you point out, it's a very complicated and conflict. I think the roots of this conflict are deeply, deeply rooted. People will have different perspectives. So convening people over a day, trying to come up with a declaration is very much a challenging task. However, the fact that we've come together, we've sat down at the same table, and while Minister Joly and Minister Hussein were actively participating in the debate and the conversation, we were working in the wings, making sure we talk to like-minded countries, but also, non-traditional partners, and making sure that we share Canada's position vis-a-vis the conflict. And I would say, the fact that many organizations, many countries have participated is very encouraging. There's still a lot of work to be done, frankly. I think it's, as I said, the conflict is deeply rooted, but we have to, come up with a path forward. And that's very much a step in the right direction through the Cairo Peace Summit of yesterday.
I also, Ambassador, have to ask you about the hundreds of Canadians who are in Gaza and hoping for assistance from the federal government in getting out. Can you update Canadians watching on the substance of the conversations that are taking place right now around the possibility of that happening?
So we hope, the sooner the better. There's no doubt about it. We're in daily contact with Egyptian authorities, try to find a solution. There's also other decision makers in the process, namely Israel and Hamas. And through different channels, we try to find a resolution of the matter, allowing foreign nationals to come from Gaza into Egypt. At the moment, we have approximately 400 Canadians, permanent residents, and dependents who are in Gaza. And our team here on the ground in Egypt is ready to proceed, with assistance to this group of more than 400 people. So what we try to say, in our daily conversations with Ottawa, our daily conversations with our regional offices in Tel Aviv and Ramallah, Athens, other embassies as well, and consulates. What we come up with I would say the strategy of making sure that we do three things. One is that we welcome these people with respect, compassion, and empathy. Second, I would say that we give them the best service, the best treatment possible. And three, we allow them to proceed to Canada or to other destinations as quickly as possible. So rest assured, and I want to assure your viewers as well that we're not sparing any efforts. And I'll tell you, I joined the Foreign Service 34 years ago exactly for that reason, to assist Canadians in dire situations. So I'm looking forward to their arrival, and I'm looking forward to giving them a hand and making sure that they can resume with their lives as quietly as possible.
I just have 5 seconds left, but does that mean, can I interpret from that, Ambassador, that you think it's possible that could happen?
The sooner the better. I don't have a timeline at this point, but definitely rest assured we're working extremely hard at finding a resolution of the problem.
Okay, I'll leave it there. Ambassador, thank you very much for your time today. I really appreciate it.
Thank you very much.